previous episode, Adam, peace be upon him, had already begun learning how to live on earth, with burden, with responsibility, without complaint. And when a human being learns to live like this, with patience, life gives him something that does not reduce the weight he carries, but it gives him the strength to carry it. Adam, peace be upon him, did not know this yet, but everything was about to change. Adam, peace be upon him, was walking on the earth as he did every day. The steps were the same, the ground was the same, the burden was the same. But then, suddenly he stopped, not because the path had ended, but because his heart, before moving forward, had already felt something. No one had called out to him. There was no sound, no movement. But in the air, there was a change, one that only the heart can feel. Without turning back, a sense of calm settled within him. It was not noise. It was not a voice. It was only a feeling that the mercy of Allah was very close to him. Slowly, he lifted his gaze, and before him stood Hawa, peace be upon her. Adam, peace be upon him, could not speak. His head lowered on its own, not because he was weak, but because he had recognized the favor of Allah. In this moment, something within Adam, peace be upon him, broke apart, and then quietly came back together. This was not ordinary happiness. It felt like finding shelter, like a person standing alone in the darkness and suddenly becoming certain that the darkness still exists, but he is no longer alone. Adam, peace be upon him, understood. This companionship was not his right, but a favor from Allah. It was not the result of insistence, but the answer to a prayer. And when a prayer is accepted, a person offers gratitude in silence. But within that same silence, a new feeling was born, that now this companionship would not be only comfort, but responsibility as well. The Quran does not describe the details of this meeting. There is no mention of the place, no mention of the time. Only this much is clear, that when Allah had taught the human being to live on earth with character and with patience, He did not leave him alone forever. Some narrations connect this meeting to Arafat, but this is not part of the Quran. And perhaps this silence itself is the greatest honor of this moment, so that our attention does not remain on place or time, but instead on that mercy of Allah which brings hearts together. Often we think that when loneliness comes to an end, life becomes easy. For Adam, peace be upon him, it was not so. Life remained the same. The only difference was that now he was no longer living only for himself. Now every step, every decision, every moment of fatigue was connected to someone else as well. Now, being alone again was no longer possible. Adam, peace be upon him, was no longer alone. But the earth did not give up its hardness. This companionship gave him something new, that now, hiding his pain was no longer necessary. Adam, peace be upon him, knew that every decision would no longer be only his, and this realization is heavier than happiness. The feeling within him was slowly settling. There was no celebration here, only a quiet peace. And this was not weakness. It was mercy. At times it feels that being together means always being strong. But sometimes being together means that the fear of breaking becomes less. Adam, peace be upon him, and Hawa, peace be upon her, were together. But this togetherness was not like a dream. The only difference was that after a full day of labor, when they quietly felt each other's presence, their hardship slowly, gently turned into gratitude. Now, Adam, peace be upon him, did not need to be strong all the time. Nothing new was added to his burden. What already existed simply became manageable. Not because the pain had ended, but because that pain was no longer alone. Adam, peace be upon him, knew that now every step would no longer be only for his own destination. Now each step was also taken to protect the companionship that Allah had granted him. Because happiness is something that is felt, but responsibility is something that is carried. This understanding was sinking deeper into his heart, that every companionship is a gift, and with every gift comes accountability. Now, feeling another's fatigue had become more important than his own. Allah does not leave the human being alone, but He does not give companionship without trust. Mercy is a gift, and every gift arrives with responsibility. The meeting of Adam, peace be upon him, and Hawa, peace be upon her, was not just a story, it was a testimony that on this earth a human being's strength does not lie in solitude, but in companionship, and in the loyalty that protects it. Adam, peace be upon him, and Hawa, peace be upon her, were now together. Not because the journey had ended, but because the journey was no longer alone. No noise, no promises, only daily companionship, daily responsibility. And then, silence.